Apologize for that break in transmission. You never know what technology would throw at you, but when it throws lemons, you make lemonade. Okay, and we are back with Office of the Citizen. It is a pleasure to have you all. Barrister Kish ADAMU is now able to join us, and he does have a story, a personal tragedy on how hoodlums sacked his village. Okay, and he's going to take us through that story, and then we'll explore ways on how to ensure that we can get security for life and property in our different communities. Dr. Kish, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. Good evening or good afternoon, depending on where you are.
Yes. All right. Could you take us briefly through what happened in Southern Kaduna? What is the name of your village in Southern Kaduna, and tell us what happened there?
Okay. My name is Jonathan Kish ADAMU. The name of my village is Kukum. It's in Kagoro. Kagoro is the town, but my village specifically is Kukum. Now, there's a part of it called Kukum Daiji. That part, about 3 weeks ago, I will call them children, because the oldest person amongst them was about 22, 24 years old. So we had children ranging from 12 to 22 years old or thereabout, having some kind of celebration, marriage. Someone was getting married, and they were just, having some fun as young people would do. And some terrorists, I would call them, stormed the place in a very fast, commando-like fashion, shot into the young people having fun.
Shot into the crowd.
Yeah, shot into them.
Yeah.
It lasted less than 5 minutes. The operation was between 2 to 5 minutes.
Yeah.
They killed about 19 people right there. Shot about 19 people, died right away. 2 others died later at the hospital, and then quite a number of people were injured. It was difficult to explain the rationale behind that attack. I come from a large clan, a large family. 2 members of my family were affected, were killed when I called home to find out what was happening. And my cousin, who had been the district head of the area, said to me that this number of people were killed, including 2 people from our family. So the whole community was thrown into mourning, and we hadn't had any such attack for a long time, and the community, everybody just kind of assumed that this wasn't something that was going to come around us, and people just wanted to get on with their lives.
Yes.
And so on. Yeah, so specifically for that attack, that's what happened.
All right. So what was the explanation given by the security services that were in charge of the village? Because I expect that there's some kind of police force, there's some kind of security in place to maintain safety for the citizens. What led to the failure? Was there an explanation on what happened?
Well, there's no explanation really that you could get from it that is sensible, other than the what we've been hearing from the presidency and from the governor particularly. The governor, I call him the apostle of revenge, has always attributed every attack, including this one, to revenge by Fulanis. That's strange, because we would wonder, what are they revenging?
Yeah.
What is the vengeance for?
Yes.
And if it's vengeance, killing such a large number of people, is that what will assuage whatever vengeful thing you want to get out of your system? But again, we don't have any quarrel or fight with the Fulanis. I know that we have always lived peacefully with the Fulanis in my village. As a young man, I spent quite a lot of time in that village. My grandfather was the district head. He gave land to practically all the Fulanis that lived and grazed their cattle there.
Mm-hmm.
They brought their fura and nono for us. They always brought some to our house, you know, and we didn't have any problems with the Fulanis.
Yes.
So, as a people, as a community, we've lived peacefully with them. So this whole idea that the governor keeps saying is revenge, and then recently, the spokesman for the president, Malam Garba Shehu,
Mm-hmm.
also chorused the same thing, about revenge and reprisals and so on. I really cannot identify with that with my village because we are not fighting with Fulanis. We
Yeah.
don't have any problem with them that will lead to anybody coming to say they want to revenge. Now, from the security angle, the governor has over and over and over again said is vengeance. So maybe he knows more than we do, but we're just shocked to hear that kind of gospel. But the problem is that the more he says that, it looks like he's giving more power, energy, and fire to whoever feels that he has something to be vengeful about.
Okay. So I know that you were in the Justice Department. So you would be privy to some intelligence in terms of the historical issues that have been ongoing in the area. What, in your own view, would be, or even come close to a reason as for why a certain group of people would want to do a revenge attack in the area?
Seriously, it baffles me. It baffles me. Um, when I was in office,
Yes.
I mean, during the height, probably at the time when we felt that these attacks uh, took the kind of dimension that has extended till today, we
Yes.
had the post-presidential election violence.
Yes.
President Jonathan
Mm-hmm.
um, contested election against President Buhari.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in Kaduna State, President Buhari won. At that time, he was leading. When the tide of the results nationally turned against President Buhari, then there were attacks, prompted by the seeming loss of the election in the northern part of the state, not southern Kaduna, not in Kogoro, not in Kukungira, my village, but in the northern part of the state. They started
Mm-hmm.
attacking PDP members and then extended those attacks to non-PDP members, okay, to anybody that looked like wasn't a supporter of President Buhari or a Christian. And when people from the southern part of the state started getting the kind of reports they were getting, they started getting concerned. And then in Kafanchan,
Yes.
which is the next big town close to Kogoro, uh, there were agitations within the town by, again, people who were supportive of President Buhari. And so by the time people saw their kith and kin being killed in other areas, naturally, they got angry and then they reacted. Now, in Kogoro, it
Mm-hmm.
was not even the people that reacted. It was some Fulani people who killed local people in Kogoro, you know, and and that's the spark of the whole violence in the southern part and particularly in Kogoro. That's how we got drawn into this crisis. So up to that time, we could say that there was no problem with the Fulanis. You know, Southern Kaduna had a history of, and Kaduna State generally had a history of ethno-religious violence over time.
Mm-hmm.
But fortunately, the last two governors, the Governor Makarfi and Governor Namadi Sambo, had done quite a lot of work in terms of maintaining peace and security in Kaduna State. So,
Mm-hmm.
but for the post-presidential election violence, I would say that a lot of this had been contained. We had the Miss Wall riots,
Mm-hmm.
which were also handled. And as a result of that, Governor McCarthy put in place a lot of um, structures to make sure that this kind of thing did not happen. And when I got into office as Attorney General, We
Yes.
built on those structures. For instance, we had the inter-religious harmony committee where the governor who chaired it will meet with all the leaders, key leaders of the various religious groups, Christians, Muslims,
Mm-hmm.
the Christian Association of Nigeria, the Jamaatul Nasir Islam, and then the traditional rulers, leaders in the state. I was a member of that as the Attorney General. And then we'll meet and then we'll look at the problems that, it was a proactive thing. We look at the problems, possible areas of concern, and then they will be addressed immediately. And so things
Yes.
were really taking the kind of shape that everybody was excited about. And then we
Yes.
had a regime of equity and fairness in terms of how the state was being run. Everybody was given what was due to them, But
Yes.
after that 2011 violence, then things now took a different turn where we started having attacks by the Fulanis against the people of Southern Kaduna. They would go and kill an entire village. They would go and wipe out an entire community. And then we started seeing certain trends where they would even, um, contrary to what the governor is saying,
Mm-hmm.
occupy a community. I know, for instance, a community in my local government, Zangan, where
Mm-hmm.
their district head had been killed several years ago. The community was ransacked. I visited that place to see how it is, and it was just complete squalor, like a war zone. And then
Mm-hmm.
Fulani now graze all over the place, cattle all over, and we even had people, terrorists, occupy some of their houses. You know,
Okay.
so that's how things regressed. Now, I would say that for me, the handling of the situation by the current administration has left a lot of room for concern.
Yes.
The security agencies would say it is a reprisal and counterattack. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that would happen where two people are fighting. you know, but here we
Yes.
don't see two people fighting. We
Yeah.
see one community attack another one over and over again. Yes, truly, there've been a few cases where there have been reactions. I would say reactions rather. Reactions
Yes.
when the Fulanis attack a community. People will react immediately and try to defend themselves, and then there
Yes.
may be casualty. But to say that we have an intercommunal clash like it's presented, I have my concerns whether that narrative is correct. At least from my experience, that's not quite correct.
Okay, let me ask. This is not the first time, like you just stated, this is not the first time that this is happening in Southern Kaduna.
No, it's not the first time. I
Okay.
mean, even as just recently as yesterday or day before yesterday, people were also killed in a community in Zangon Kataf.
Okay.
And
Now,
Zangon Kataf is just the next local government to mine.
okay. What has the governor, the current governor, what has he put in place? Has he given any, apart from the claiming revenge attacks, has he given any edit or orders? Or has he put some security people out there to prevent these attacks from recurring? From what you just said now, if it happened yesterday, it means that nothing has been put on ground to protect the people in that area.
Yeah, but you see, this is what happens. What the governor does, or what the government does, is that
Mhm.
immediately an attack takes place,
Mhm.
he imposes a curfew. And so in my community and in Kafanchan and Zangon Katav,
Mhm.
curfews were imposed. And so the local people are under curfew. They can't do anything to protect themselves. And then right in the middle of the curfew imposed by the governor, then we have these terrorists come in again and kill a whole community
So that's very
and shoot out a
ineffective.
whole village.
Yes, that
Yes.
is
And then
very,
the
very
security
ineffective.
agencies, when the report is made to them,
Yes.
what we don't see them do
Hmm.
is they don't really pursue the attackers because the attackers just seem to have disappeared into thin air. So the people are attacked, a report is made to the security agencies, and then we don't see any effort to
Yes.
apprehend the people attacking the community.
Okay. So,
And then the local community, the government discourages them severely against taking action to defend themselves.
why? Why do you think that is happening? We have had
Well,
people speak boldly on complicity. They say that the government is encouraging these hoodlums to do what they do. Why a government would encourage hoodlums to do that, I don't know. I do not see the rationale behind encouraging people to do what they do. But what is your take on that? Somebody went on air and mentioned names and said specifically that the government encourages the chief of security or the chief of security staff to stay their hands on prosecuting the hoodlums that are captured. Now, do you believe that proposition? And if so, why do you believe that proposition? And what do you think can be done to ameliorate that situation?
yes, I think first the governor needs to see himself as a father for all. He
Yes,
needs
not
to see
just some.
himself as detached from the conflict.
Yes.
The governor, from the moment that he won the election, he believed that the people of Southern Kaduna didn't vote for him. And the president, too, seemed to take the same position, that the people of Southern Kaduna didn't vote for them. And so, in terms of giving attention to Southern Kaduna, we
Yes.
don't get the same level of attention like other parts of the state get, you know. So the governor has taken a rather um, aggressive position, offensive position against the people of Southern Kaduna, both in terms of his actions, in terms of his utterances, and in terms of his policies. So
What
when
can the
you
people do
have a
about that?
governor,
Yes.
can you say that again?
What can the people do about that? Because they can't just sit down and wait to be slaughtered. What options are available to the people to protect themselves? If the government is not protecting them,
Well,
they have to protect themselves.
the only option available for people is to resort to self-help, which is to defend themselves. Unfortunately, the government is unwilling to allow them to protect themselves. So again, that leads currency, that adds currency to those who hold the view that the governor has taken side. I am not sure that I hold that view, but the facts on the ground, sadly, would make every reasonable person to want to think that the governor perhaps may have taken a one-sided view of the situation. For
Okay, now
instance,
that yes.
the governor would say to will gather chiefs around and say, "Oh, no village has been occupied uh, by the elders." Yet the contrary, or they go to a community, say to them that they
Mhm.
should fish of arrest are in the hands of. For me,
Yes.
I I put the blame squarely on the doorsteps of the government. I
Yes. Okay,
can
now
hear
is that
you
okay?
loud and clear.
All right. Is there anything that the international community can do to support the people in there? Because there is oh dear. Okay, so my question was, how could the international community support?
International community could do.
Yes, to help, because it's beginning to look like some kind of cleansing. Every time we turn around, people from a specific group in that community are slaughtered and murdered. It's not fair. They can't just sit around and have marauders come in and kill them whenever they want to. Something must be available to them. Some kind of options should be available to them. I was hoping that Professor Sen would be able to come in and share with us options that would be available, because he made a statement saying that if the government is helpless in the face of marauders, they can ask for the help of the international community in such a way that they do not cede any kind of sovereignty or any kind of national powers. You are a student of law. You would understand something in that direction. What options are available to the people in a community? What international options are available to help themselves?
Well, the first option available to the people is the option of self-defense. It's a
Mm-hmm.
universal right. It's a constitutional right. Every legal instrument globally has
Yes.
given people the right to self-defense. Now, I must qualify that self-defense
Mm-hmm.
does not mean that you should attack your neighbor. It
Yes.
doesn't mean that you should go and hunt someone and kill them or attack
Mm-hmm.
them. No. Self-defense means that if somebody attacks you or wants to injure your family members or take your property, you can, you know, oppose them and stop them from doing that.
How?
Okay. Now, so that's is one step that I think that the people need to do. The people need to be able to rise up and defend themselves
Yes.
against any of these attackers. Secondly, having said so, the international community needs
Mm-hmm.
to put pressure both on the federal government and on the state government to take their responsibility, their duty of protecting lives and property in Kaduna State a lot more
Mm-hmm.
seriously. Now, these attacks, I would say, and I must admit that these attacks are not limited to Southern Kaduna. We have
Yes.
other parts of Kaduna State being attacked, Birningwari area, Giwai area, Igabi area, and so on. Okay,
Are these
but
areas
the
largely
response,
Christian?
sorry,
Are these areas largely Christian?
I wouldn't say they are largely Christians. They are mixed, but
Okay.
mostly yes,
Okay.
mostly non-Christian. You
Okay.
know, but what we see in these areas when they are attacked is that the response of the government is immediate. He's more compassionate. He's more sympathetic. He goes out to visit them and
Mm-hmm.
tries to assuage their injured feelings. Okay. But unfortunately for the people of Southern Kaduna, um, it's just more like an attitude it's rather more form than action. It's more form than action. We
Yes.
have, for instance, and I must admit, there's
Mm-hmm.
been a long clamor to have stronger military presence in Southern Kaduna. So we have
Yes.
that, and that has happened under this administration. But what's the whole idea about having boots on ground in the words of the governor
Yes.
when these boots are unable to carry these troops to battle? Doesn't help anybody.
Yes.
So the international community needs to put pressure on the state government to make the military alive to their work. And I know that our military historically has been one of the most effective globally. Okay. And when they are given the marching orders with the right equipment, they're able to do their job anytime. So
Okay.
I think that the instructions that the military is being given may be the problem.
So you don't think they're being given the right instructions?
No, I can give you an example. In my local government, in that area I mentioned, Zangan, the community was attacked. The people saw the attackers because they chased the attackers. They called the military, they got the military involved. The military came out and they stood and they refused to pursue the attackers, even as the attackers ran away. The attackers were running away because that area is reasonably open. You could see people. And so they saw the attackers running away and the military did nothing. The same thing happened in Kafanchan, the attack that took place just the following day or 2 days after the one that took place in my community. The military were, from the reports that I got, the military were on ground. They were told about it, but the military did not pursue these people till they disappeared into the forest. And then they came back the following day and attacked another community around there. I'm speaking of Zipak area in Kafanchan and Angwame Masara.
Okay. Now you mentioned that it was the Fulani headsman that did this. You kind of seem comfortable to say that it was the Fulani headsman that. Do you think that this
No, I
accusation
said
is full of it?
terrorists. I said terrorists.
Okay, terrorists. Because I
Yes.
think that blaming everything on the Fulani headsman seems to be some kind of smokescreen under which a lot of atrocities are committed. Would you agree with me on that?
It's difficult for me to
Remember,
put.
these people have been around since the 17th century, and it was
Yeah.
not always this bad.
Yes, for me personally, it's difficult for me to put a label of Fulani on it. Okay,
Yes.
but the reports that we get over and over again is when the people are attacked, they say the people who attacked them are Fulanis. Now, and then I can identify with that to some extent because the Fulani have a peculiar way in which they speak Hausa. If a Fulani man speaks, of course, you would hear and understand that this probably a Fulani, and then of course from their looks too. So most of the locals, because I have not personally been within the environment of conflict as it is happening, I only
Mm-hmm.
go there probably immediately after it happens or a few days after it happens. But the reports that we would get when we asked, did you see the attackers? People would say yes. Can you tell us who they are? They'll say they are Fulani people. And
Mm-hmm.
some of them would even say, okay, the attackers were people who lived in our community for some time. And yes, to some extent, I can say yes, Fulani, because even in the northern part of the state, when these attacks do take place, it's the same Fulani people that are accused of doing that. And so within the Fulani community, um, there are a lot of criminal minded elements within them that have become terrorists. And remember, globally, I think the U.S. Department of State has designated um, this group of terrorists that attacked Southern Kaduna, as they've labeled them as terrorists and as either the third or fourth most dangerous group in the world.
Yes, yes, and then there's some news going on that Al Qaeda is invading from that area also. Okay, so thank you for throwing more light on that. So what would you suggest? Okay, we're trying to help the governor now because in moments of crisis, the best that citizens can do is to support their government and support their governor in your own case. What would you personally do to help secure?
Listen, Regina. The
Yes, yes.
governor is not interested in being helped. The governor is a Mr. Know-it-all who believes that he has he understands the problem by himself, and then that his solution is the perfect solution. I'll give you an example. Some years ago, just about a year or two
Something
before
going on with your audio.
got into office, I attended a meeting where the deputy governor was present, and we had conversations. And a few people actually did out that. Um, so, oh, okay, right. Is it better now?
Yes, it's better now. Yes.
Is it better?
Go ahead, please. You were saying that the governor is not open to any suggestions or any help because he feels that he has the best
Can you hear me?
solutions to the. Yes, we can hear you. Go
Okay,
ahead,
great.
please.
So I sat in the audience and listened in. Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. The governor believes that he has the best solutions, that his own solutions are the only solutions that are correct. And when we tried to suggest in that meeting that, look, perhaps the governor should be talked to, and
Mm-hmm.
the response we were given was that, look, you don't go with the governor to talk with him in that manner. And I was shocked because a governor should not determine how you talk to him or the kind of you bring to him. I'm a
Yes.
father of several to me. You come, they are faithful. Some may come, they might be talking with me in a way that I don't want to hear. But they are children, and as their father, I believe
Yes.
what they are saying. Now, spoken
Yes.
out of turn, then I correct them, and then I do what is right. Now,
Yes.
the
Okay. That was interesting conversation. Our speaker, Barrister ADAMU Kish, stated that the governor is not interested in engaging in any suggestions from people in the community towards how they could help alleviate this insecurity, the situation of insecurity in their community. Unfortunately, we lost him again. The conversation today was supposed to throw light or was supposed to explore the many options we have, the many options that will be available to Nigerians from the international community, and how Nigerians at home could organize themselves to protect their lives and property. That was the focus of our conversation today. Unfortunately, technology is not on
Okay.
our side. Oh, he's back. Thank you. We are listening. We were talking about the governor's reluctance to engage people, to listen to suggestions from members of the community. And you were talking to us about how he got upset in a way that, by the way somebody was talking to him or somebody was addressing him. Please go ahead with your submission. Go ahead, sir. Can you hear us? Can you hear us? Go ahead.
It must be.
A comment that says ethnic cleansing is the agenda in Southern Kaduna. Ethnic cleansing. A lot of people up north, they are Hausa Fulani or Hausa, and So, to what effect? To what reason would there be to do this type of carry out this type of ethnic cleansing? There wouldn't be any reason for that, but we don't live there, so we don't know. Only the people who live there will be in a position to really tell us what the agenda is. Okay, so I hope that someday we'll be able to sit and really talk about this. Go ahead, sir, if you could.
Okay, so the solutions are really not so difficult if the governor would take a less aggressive position in terms of the people of Southern Kaduna. If
Mm-hmm.
he'll be a bit more empathic, if he'll be a bit more engaging, if he'll be a bit more open minded,
Yes.
even if what the people of Southern Kaduna are saying is wrong, even if the apprehension of the problem is wrong, he
Mm-hmm.
needs to listen to them. Perhaps he can learn a thing or two and use it to solve the problem and end the killings that are taking place. The business of government is about lives. I have
Yes.
held the position over time that the government is the one that has failed the people. Um, and until the government does the right thing, the killings will continue. The government wakes up and does the correct thing, the killings would stop. And that is the position that I hold. And I think that's what needs to be done.
All right. Thank you so much. Last note, let me ask you, Dr. Kish, was there some kind of some forensics investigation, uh, carried out when those murders in your village was, when those murders happened? Did they come and investigate to see what kind of weapons were used? What kind of, did they explore the ballistics? This will give people information on the weaponry that can be traced to where they were bought from. This will give people information on arms sales, or arm movements across the borders. Can you talk to me a little bit about that? Was there any kind of forensics investigation carried out?
I'm unaware that that took place. I'm unaware, but I can hazard a guess that probably that might not have happened, especially when the government already has a position that they've taken that it's uh, vengeance or revenge.
Mm-hmm. All right. Okay, we have to commiserate with you on your tragedy,
Yeah.
and
So
we are deeply
yeah.
sympathetic on your loss, and sympathetic to the people of Southern Kaduna. And we pray that this does not happen again in that community. I look forward to a situation where international organizations would be able to lend a hand, at least, lend a hand in terms of providing whatever security they could provide to help preserve lives of people in that area. Because there's no reason why there should be any kind of ethnic cleansing going on in Nigeria motivated by religion or ethnicity. We're all one people. People up there, they're either the Hausa or the Fulani, we're all one people. So I do look forward to a time where international organizations will not wait until people are dying in droves, until there's some kind of genocide like Hutus and Tutsis. I hope that we do not see that kind of situation before the government or before the international bodies come in to help. All right. Until next Saturday, where I hope we'll have a better luck with technology, I would encourage you all to please stay safe, take care of yourselves and of each other. And you better believe that I'll be back to trash out this issue with a group of people who are well versed in the history and the process of this situation. Okay, till next Saturday, I would say good night, God bless, take care of yourselves and of each other. Thank you.